Huddle Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
As we got the sports dad in the old studio today, his little Minnesota United Zolgad jersey hanging in the background.
Yep.
It's covering up my fat head, it looks like.
Thrilled to be here.
You are.
Thrilled to be in the studio. Coming to you from the Empire.
Your mic sounds great in that 40-year-old side studio. So we're going to dive into, you were at practice yesterday, so we do have some Judd's camp notes, but it's mostly like forward-looking because the next 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday this week, the New England Patriots come to town early for a joint practice. And I would say if you were to rank like the 3 preseason games and then the joint practice as like the fourth entity in terms of entertainment, value to what's actually happening with the roster, what the coaches get out of it, is it fair to say that what we're going to see on Wednesday and Thursday ranks number 1? And then maybe like the first preseason game because you get to look at the ones or something, and then the second 2 preseason games. Is that fair?
Yeah, probably. Yes. I would say, yeah, the joint practices are, if there is a highlight of the training camp / preseason, it's this. And I wouldn't be surprised if going forward, we see the Vikings do 2 joint practices against, or 2 sessions, because there was talk about it. If you guys remember in the spring, I think it was, or just after the season, O'Connell mentioned the fact that they were trying to set up 2 sessions. But I still think that we are getting closer and closer to joint practices replacing a preseason game at some point entirely.
Yeah. And it kind of has, because there used to be 4 preseason games, but you're right. Like it's definitely moving closer to that direction. So we're going to take a forward-looking approach to Judd's camp notes here today at Random Viking of the Week. But let's talk about MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning and how they can help our audience, Judd.
Yeah, so it's been an odd summer, back and forth, right? Some cool days, some nice days, but then some hot and humid days where you just can't beat the heat. And I have a question for you. Is your AC working to its maximum efficiency at that point? Because if it's not, MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air can take care of you. $49 for a tune-up that is going to make your home absolutely more comfortable. Also, in addition to being fantastic at what they do, MSP is a big believer in being in the community. So don't forget, they're going to be at Woodbury Days, August 22nd through the 24th. Find them at their booth all weekend. That's a Friday through Sunday. And don't miss the Sunday parade. Stop by the booth to enter their grill giveaway. That's right. Always giving back. MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air, 651-615-4292, or check out their website, callmsp.com, callmsp.com.
Also, yesterday, we asked you guys if you could help us raise $20,000 this week for Courage Kenny Rehabilitation Institute, which they work with children and adults who experience life-altering injuries and disabilities. They offer innovative rehab therapy during some of the darkest moments of people's lives to get them back to either a sense of normal or whatever the new normal may be. So we asked you to raise $20,000 for us, and you responded on day one with $11,500 worth of donations, bids, and buy it nows. So this is our Power of Sports auction that we do every year across the Score North podcast. And there are several great experiences and things available to buy and bid on at scorenorth.com/bid. A few of them are gone within like the first 10 hours of yesterday. But just to highlight a couple things still on the board here, if I may. So there is a Gopher football game next Thursday night against vaunted Buffalo, but we have a suite. And so Thor Nystrom and myself, with a potential appearance from the Jilted Sports Dad, are going to be in that suite, hanging out, talking football. And there are still some pairs of tickets. It's $100 per ticket. They go in pairs. There is a limited quantity left in that suite. We've got suites at formerly the X, now Grand Casino Arena, for Adam Sandler, for Burt Kreischer coming up in September and October. There are still some tickets available for those suites. And also the Twins executive balcony, which now that they got all these young, fun players like Luke Keeschall, those are selling pretty fast, $75 a pop to sit in the Twins executive balcony with us, the Score North Twins Show, for a game in September, Tuesday, September 2nd. And I think there's only like 10 left. So scorenorth.com/bid. Thank you guys we were on the text thread last night, like, holy cow, $11,000 in the first day.
Awesome.
So yeah, we appreciate you guys. Judd, the floor is yours. Let's do a forward-looking Judd's camp notes here.
First of all, as both of you know, my studio appearances now are very sporadic, irregular, right? So I come in today and I check out my mailbox here, jammed full of stuff, including the soon to be, if you can see this, Judd's camp notes that we're going to be at the state fair. I'm going to start to use this tomorrow for the joint practices. This is like an official notebook. It's nice. It's got the full thing. Like, this thing could be used for anything. It's a great notebook. Judd's camp notes. I'm very, very excited about it.
Can you actually grab, there's an extra one. Can you grab one? I'd love to also take notes at the joint practices in an official Judd's camp note. You have two?
I do have two.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you might need both. So I don't want to take away from your stash if you need one for each day of joint practice.
Oh, no. It's a full notebook. That's the nice thing. Like look at the pages here. Like, it's not cheap. It's not like 10 pages. It's a full notebook.
I love this.
It's great.
And so yeah, it's a busy month for us because that is happening at the state fair next week, where those are going to be available. And so that section of our site is open right now too, scorenorth.com/fair, FAIR fair, where you can find the 7-day full schedule of, it'll be noon to 3 every day, large chunks of purple daily, usually starting at 1:00 live. So we're super pumped to be back at the state fair. O-line committee with its first ever live show on Monday, August 25th. And then you can shake the hand of Judd's camp notes in person. Judd's camp notes.
Very, very excited about that. All right, so let's get to it. Judd's camp notes, taking a look, spinning it to Wednesday and Thursday. If you are fortunate enough to go, and by the way, this is worth being at. It's going to be very intriguing. It'll be very active to watch. We're going to go from 1 to 5. So I'm going to start at 1. And number 1 is JJ McCarthy, no surprise, against the Patriots defense. So let's just set the scene here. The reason why coaches like this is they get an interaction in a controlled environment against a real opponent. So JJ McCarthy's not going to be hit here. He's not going to be squashed. It's not going to be, literally, when you play a quarterback in a preseason game, the trade-off is, okay, good experience, but you could get hurt. And I'm not saying he can't get hurt. Guys get hurt in joint practices. Quarterbacks, though, usually don't. It's pretty safe. But what this does provide is it provides another team, another defense. In some cases, probably it's a good thing. It's a non-Brian Flores defense. But you will get a read, and I think most importantly, Kevin O'Connell will get a read on where McCarthy is, and he's going to get a ton of reps here. So he won't play on Saturday, but this isn't like, okay, we have to be careful here. Here's 20 plays. That's it. He will run the first team offense against an opponent for 2 days. I would say that these are going to be the 2 most important days, including Saturday, of the preseason and training camp for McCarthy, because 1, it's a teaching tool in the moment for O'Connell, and 2, it puts a lot of work on film, and you're sort of going to get a read of how much has he learned and progressed since training camp started. So I cannot articulate the importance enough of what I think Wednesday and Thursday are going to mean in the potential development of JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, you'd like to see moving the ball and at least getting a few big plays over on the Patriots defense. I will ask you the other side of that coin question. What if he looks, and not just he, what if the first team offense just looks kind of discombobulated for a couple days? Then what going forward? Are you more likely then to play him in another preseason game? Are you then looking to go acquire a backup quarterback that has actually, like how much is really at stake in these 2 games? I'm not saying he's in danger of not being QB1 going into the season, but you'd like to see them move the ball more than they have against their own defense in the first 2 weeks of training camp, right?
Yes, I think the important thing is it doesn't have to be dominant. I think what it has to do, and McCarthy's sort of passing these tests. So there are tests, there are things that you would like to see improve for sure, and there always will be. But I think we talked about this a week ago, and it's entirely true, and it looked good on Saturday. How do you control the huddle? the line of scrimmage, right? So I think that this is what this is. It's going to be an extended look against an opponent of seeing where things stand. So I don't think it's like, oh my God, they're not the 98 Vikings. What's gone wrong? I think it's more nuanced than that. But I think it's actually the functionality of how things run. And yes, you would like to see completions for sure. It's going to be competitive without becoming hopefully violent. But I think it's more nuanced than, okay, they look either really great or, oh my God, they look terrible. I think it falls in between, but this just allows for so much more coaching. And that, again, the preseason, it lets you put things on film for a very small time if you're the starting quarterback. But you can't get involved in the drill there, right? So I think that what this is this is an opportunity for O'Connell, for McCarthy, and for fans to probably watch for the nuance of how things function and how things look. I don't think it has to be super impressive. I do think it needs to look good, though, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. It needs to look better than it did the first 2.5 weeks of your own practice decks.
Is it more important for actually the defense to come out with its hair on fire to start the season? And by hair on fire, I like quantify that as like one of the top 5 units in the NFL than it is for the offense to come out and be a top 5 unit, because it feels like this is going to be a slow burn getting the offense maybe up to speed, or maybe just being a juggernaut. Like, they're going to have a good running game. McCarthy's not struggling, but adapting and learning how to play quarterback in the NFL. Is it maybe more important for them to have the defense honed in, ready to rock, than it is the offense coming out ready, guns a-blazing, and being a top 5 unit to start the year? Well,
I mean, you kind of put top 5 like in your – you said top 5 for both offense and defense. I don't see a world in which the Vikings offense is anywhere near a top 5 scoring offense this season, period. Like early season, late season. And if it is, they might win the Super Bowl. Like if this offense at some point becomes a top 5 offense with a first-year starting quarterback, they will be one of the 2 or 3 main Super Bowl contenders. But Kevin O'Connell in his 3 years here with much more veteran and established Kirk Cousins, Sam Darnold, who at least have been in the league for 6 years and had seen and processed defenses, and then you get them in the right system and it clicks. They've come really nowhere near being a top 5 scoring offense with those iterations. They were 8th in scoring in 2022. They were 22nd in scoring in 23 because half the season was played with backup quarterbacks. And then they jumped into 9th in scoring, and they've been 7th, 10th, and 12th in yardage. So they've been like a fringe top 10 offense with Kirk Cousins before the injury and with Sam Darnold. So I think, to me, the expectation for the full season is defense needs to be top 5. I could see the defense being the best defense in the league if guys stay healthy. Mm-hmm. And can the offense be a top half of the league unit that can cash in high leverage situations? Can you score at a higher rate in the red zone? Can you run the ball, control when you have a lead? Can you control it, grind out the opposing team's defense in the second half and win games in a little bit of a different way?
I think the most important thing is that. I think the most important thing in the first half of the season offensively is going to be the ability of the offense to functionally run the ball and eat clock. Because the marriage of the offense and defense, if you will, in this case, is enormous. Because what you can't do is this defense is not young. You cannot put them on the field continually and say, get another stop. What you can do is eat clock, score enough points, and then allow the defense to cook when they're on the field. But like this is definitely probably in the O'Connell era, in my opinion, this is the most joined or married these two have been before. And yeah, I think the defense can 100% be easily top 5, if not lead the league in scoring defense. But if you look at this team, and this is the interesting thing, and this is why the McCarthy thing can't just be an experiment. Look at the age of this team. Like, look at some of the key guys. They're not young guys. So if you all of a sudden start to ask Hargrave, Allen, Harrison Smith, I mean, heck, Blake Cashman's not a kid anymore. So if you say, get out there and just play, you're going to lose them at some point, especially in December and January. So this becomes a very interesting efficiency issue, I think, is the best word to use offensively. It doesn't have to be totally dynamic. It would be nice, but what it needs to be is efficient. And 3 and outs will kill you.
Yeah, it is. Some of this is like a math equation, right? The defense last year gave up under 20 points again. I think it was like 18 or 19 points a game or somewhere in that range. Call it 19 points a game. The best defenses in the league are usually at like 16, 17 points a game. If you can be in that range, you don't need to score 30 points a game. At some point, it would be nice in like year 2, year 3 of your 10th overall drafted quarterback, once he really gets a feel for NFL speed, everything, if this was a high octane offense. But that is just an unrealistic expectation for the first year of JJ McCarthy. It is do enough to win. And like I said, be great on third and must pass, be great in the red zone so that you convert a higher percentage of those high leverage points into first downs and touchdowns.
If this team is going to win in January, that's the formula, though. Like if they come out and they are a house of fire and the defense plays okay, you'll lose in the playoffs. But if you come out and the defense is stout and really good and the offense does its job, that's how you win in January. So, like, to me, you're going to come out like, and yes, the offense, you would like to see it gradually improve. But I think if you establish the run, JJ McCarthy can use his arm and his feet. I saw it again yesterday. He took off like he's going to run. And you might say, oh my God, what are they thinking? He has no choice. The run has to be part of his game. He knows it. O'Connell knows it. And yeah, his knee, his meniscus cost him a season. But if you go into conservative mode there, guess what? You're going to lose games. He has to run.
And if you have that tool, and to varying degree, I'm not putting him in the category of all these other guys necessarily as an athlete, but like Dante Culpepper first couple of years, Josh Allen first couple of years. Like Jaden Daniels was the rookie of the year last year, not because he threw for 5,000 yards. He threw for 3,500 yards, and and like 7.5 yards per attempt. But he used his legs. Now JJ's not the athlete that Jaden Daniels is, but the first couple of years as a quarterback, if you've got that tool, it's probably the most you're going to use that tool is your first, second, third year as a starter before you're able to really sit back there and process at warp speed.
I also think that JJ McCarthy's a better athlete than we probably give him credit for. And yeah, he's not Jaden. He certainly is not Josh or Dante, because they could literally bowl guys over. And he would be,
This is Finn. We got 2 dogs in the house today.
Finn.
This is Vinny's brother. Vinny's brother, Finn. He's much more of a Vinny's a bigger marshmallow, but this guy sometimes requires some being held. He likes to being held like a baby. So
yeah,
he just loves joint practice talk.
I got no problem with that.
And he's a dual threat guy. That's right.
Man, he's a dual threat.
Well, he poops and pees.
Exactly.
Welcome to the show, Finn. Okay, let's go to the second thing to watch for in joint practices against the Patriots. It's pretty simple, but it's the wide receiver spot. So Justin Jefferson, I think I can confidently say, will not take part. He's still not practiced. By the way, I have no problem with this, but they're not going to. I would be shocked if they thrust him in for 2 pretty competitive practices. Yeah. There's absolutely no reason to take a chance. So your top 2 guys, without question, going into these joint practices, Jordan Addison, who's had a really good camp. He suspended the first 3 games, obviously. Jalen Naylor has been fine. Like, he's a 3. He's been asked to play 2. Has it been fantastic all the time? No. Is he a train wreck? That's not fair to say he is not. As we talked about in the 53 projection that I did yesterday for you guys, Ty Felton, in my opinion, is a lock. Is he a polished receiver? Not even close, but he's speedy. He can play special teams. I think he's going to return kicks. I think Lucky Jackson, unless he completely falls apart, has a job wrapped up. But that leaves Deshaun Jones, Thayer Thomas, Silas Bolden, Tim Jones, Miles Price, who I'll get to in a second, and Dante Fleming in competition. And the reason why I bring up Miles Price is yesterday returning punts. So I would take it that Rondale Moore, who we still don't have an update on if he is going to play again, it will not be anytime soon. Returning punts yesterday in practice, though, were Bolden, not surprising, Jackson, not surprising, Naylor, and Miles Price. But anyway, this to me is going to be a huge separator in, and I don't know if they're going to keep 5 like I projected coming out of camp or 6, but these joint practices, I think, have the ability to be a huge separator in those depth roster positions as far as the wide receiver goes.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm Lucky Jackson is such a curious one, man. 28 years old, been in the system now for a few years, been around the world, Canada, United States, different leagues in the United States. Like, if he continues to flash in the joint practice and in the preseason games, and if you're not going to go out and bring in somebody from the outside, I think it's pretty solidly he will be your number 3 wide receiver when the season starts.
Yeah.
And Jalen Naylor is still just like not fully sold on him. He showed some flashes last year, but you'd like to see 1 or 2 of those guys really step up and just make it obvious in joint practices or preseason. Hey, I got this for at least the first few weeks. And then once Jordan Addison comes back, everything's going to kind of settle into place.
I think by the end of this week, they will have decided if they absolutely have to go out and sign a receiver off the street. Like, to me, that's the thing is, it's not like, well, one of these guys has to step up. It is, can one of them step up? And if they don't, do we start to make phone calls?
This is all the more reason to just, is it fair to say that the Vikings probably trust Josh Oliver on the field as both a pass catcher and just the things he brings as one of the best run blocking tight ends? Just running more what they call 12 personnel with 2 tight ends on the field and 2 wide receivers versus running the 11 personnel that I think is the predominant personnel package in the 3 years of Kevin O'Connell. But if it comes down to, like, especially the first 3 weeks, you could either put more Jalen Naylor and or Lucky Jackson and or Ty Felton on the field, or just run heavier packages, run play action, have Josh Oliver out there for the majority of snaps along with TJ Hawkinson. Don't you think that's a fairly viable solution?
I think that is, and I also think that we are going to see the amount of screen passes to the running backs uptick. Yes, I think there's ways to work around this, but I also think that there probably will come a point where if they say, and it's not just for the wide receiver position guys, it's for the punt returner as well, right? Like, you have to have somebody back there, and I know Brandon Powell was underwhelming as hell, but you could trust him to catch the ball for the most part. Like, if you, and I don't think that he makes the roster, but if Silas Bolden makes the team and he has one really nice punt return and he muffs the next one, then you shouldn't have capped him. So I do think that this comes down to who can return punts as well. And worst case, I mean, I think my inclination, just a total guess here, is that they would probably call, if he's available to play, Brandon Powell back for 3 weeks and just have him catch punts and then go from there.
Yeah, it's he's available. He's available.
All right. Judd's Camp Notes, what to watch for, number 3. I've headlined this one. What's going on with Nudie? Sounds sort of ominous, huh? Dwight McLaughlin. So Dwight McLaughlin, I talked about this like a week and a half ago, was having a great camp. He was a ball hawk. He was picking off passes left and right. Well, at practice yesterday, and I sort of saw this in the game too, but anyway, at practice yesterday, he appeared to be behind, and the first bit of this list won't surprise you. Isaiah Rodgers, Byron Murphy Jr., Jeff Okudah, Mekhi Blackman, Zemiah Vaughn, and Ambry Thomas. So I don't know if they're seeing things they don't like as much. I will say this, guys like me get caught up in splash plays, right? Interception, oh man, he must be having a great camp. I don't know if Brian Flores does. I mean, I think he likes it, but I also think that he says, are you doing the job I want you to do? Now, McLaughlin, to his credit, made the team as a UDFA a year ago. So like, he worked his ass off to make the 53. But just something to keep an eye on as the cornerback battle sort of takes shape here, especially with the depth guys, because I would say the 2 places where I am interested about the depth is wide receiver and cornerback.
Well, yeah, I think it's easy to get caught up in some of the splashy, like an interception at practice or in a game. But I think Brian Flores and other defensive coaches would say that a lot of those splash plays are the product of some other core thing that happened leading to like the quarterback was pressured and moved off of his spot, and so he threw inaccurately, and boom, somebody picks off the pass because it was just thrown off target. And if you were to do a pie chart of praise for the reasons why that interception took place, it's less about the guy who caught the football and more about some other things. And you got to wonder with Dwight McCloughan, is the substance there behind the splash plays? I don't know, but if he's that far down, now Ambry Thomas is a veteran, so are they looking at this and saying, okay, Ambry Thomas spent 4 years in San Francisco. This is year 5 in the NFL. He's a former 3rd-round draft pick out of Michigan, so he's super high-level football. San Francisco, he's been part of winning teams, been part of a Super Bowl team. Do they just want another veteran presence because of the uncertainty of Jeff Okudah, the uncertainty of Isaiah Rodgers playing 1,000 snaps? If they had to lean toward the undrafted free agent guy who's been kind of splashy once in a while at training camp, or Ambry Thomas who's been around the block for 5 years, I wonder if that's what their mindset is. But Zamiah Vaughn being in that mix too, as an undrafted free agent, kind of profiles similarly as Dwight McCloughan. And it depends, too, on how many of those cornerbacks they're going to keep numbers-wise. But interesting.
As a football guy, I will say this. I am infatuated with Zamiah Vaughn's length.
Oh, yes. Very lanky. What is he, 6'3"?
I'd have to look it up. But the arms, the length, the ability to probably press, there's an interesting player there.
Yeah, he is listed at 6'3", so he is definitely one of the tallest cornerbacks in the league. If you were to rank all of them across the board, you don't see many 6'4", 6'5" cornerbacks. It's not.
And if you can hold up and play, I mean, that makes you super intriguing. So that is my third thing. Just a quick question: what's up with Nudie? All right, number 4, and this one. We saw it again. We saw it on Saturday. We saw it yesterday. So I know it's propaganda and I don't care, but Max Brosmer in practice against the Patriots. Now, the obvious question is, how much work does Max get? Because McCarthy's going to get the first team reps. Sam Howell is going to get the second team reps. It felt like Brosmer and Brett Rippon probably had about an equal number of reps on Monday, but hands down, boys, and you probably saw it. I know that the Vikings don't want us, and we aren't allowed to have posts on social with plays during team drills, but that doesn't mean you, the fans, don't. And the pass that Max Brosmer made, it was from the defense's 40-yard line. He drops back, so it's probably about a 47-yard pass, drops it in the bucket to Tim Jones in stride at like the 2 or the 1. And now here's the most impressive thing. So it's a touchdown. Most impressive thing is it's against the first team defense. Isaiah Rodgers is in coverage and he is flat out beat. Now, Tim Jones gets credit as well because he's a guy I predicted. He's a veteran guy from Jacksonville. I think they keep him based on special teams, based on blocking. It was a nice catch, but it was a hell of a dime. I mean, Max Brosmer, I don't know what more to say. Like it might sound like
QB2, that's what you say. QB2.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the goal for Kool-Aid, and we could talk about all that, but this just continues to be impressive.
What was the other throw?
To be really impressive.
I saw the one that you're referencing, and then there was another one where he was kind of flushed out to the left.
Change the arm angle.
And he's moving, he's right-handed, and he's moving to his left.
Yep.
And he throws kind of like weight falling away, drops down like 2/3 arm or 3/4 arm.
Yeah.
And hits. It doesn't throw it all the way across the field because that would be dangerous. But he finds, I think it was I don't even know who it was, a running back or whoever, just a little outlet. And it was not because you don't really think of Brosmer outside of some designed play action rollouts. You don't think of him as an improvising type quarterback, even with the Gophers. He's more of a stand-in, deliver on schedule guy. And so to see that too at practice yesterday.
I think we need to go there a little bit right now too, okay? Because like this to me,
go where Declan went yesterday on his hottest take.
No. I think we need to go on Brosmer's profile. So, and here's how. So this has gotten, and I mean, I'm pretty damn jaded. I've seen a lot of these slappy QBs, so I don't really do this much. But I think there's a conversation now about, I mean, Max Brosmer for the Gophers was really good and deserves complete credit. But let's call a spade here, gentlemen. He has gone from PJ Fleck and an offense that, yeah, it's a Big Ten offense. It's a college team to the master's room, Kevin O'Connell's room. And it feels like what we're seeing is Max Brosmer being unleashed a bit more. Like let's not, PJ Fleck does a lot of things well, not in-game coaching, but he does get credit, and he deserves to keep that Gopher job for as long as he wants, in my opinion. That being said, it feels like Max Brosmer is being unleashed a little bit here as far as skill set goes. And, Fleck has his Fleckonian ways of what he wants offensively. And now I feel like we're seeing things of like, oh, you can do that? Oh, yeah, that's pretty impressive. So
yeah,
I know it sounds like hype. I know that right now you think I'm drinking Kool-Aid completely, but I'm telling you, I didn't expect this. I didn't expect it. I'm just going to flat out say it.
He does look damn good.
Dude, that throw yesterday.
Which one? With the deep one or the one I mean, they're both.
The one that you talked about was really, really nice, and that's a great adjustment. But the deep one, I mean, that's a throw that looked simple, and we all know we've seen that overshot, underthrown, and everything else. That's a difficult throw, and he is not going against the threes.
Yeah, he had on what would be called medium or intermediate depth throws last year with the Gophers. He had a 93.1 PFF grade on those passes, which was among the best in the country. And he had a 74% adjusted completion percentage on those throws. There were 8 drops mixed in. So 1 in every 10 of his intermediate throws was dropped by those Gophers receivers.
Interesting.
So that's something, like, obviously if you're throwing it to Addison and Jefferson at some point, which I'm guessing he probably hasn't really at all in practice, certainly Jefferson, because he's not working with those guys.
No, he is not at all.
It's I think there's a little bit of this is quarterback beer goggles because of the low bar set among the backups, where if Nick Mullins was still around, I mean, Nick Mullins is just a solidified, solid backup quarterback. I don't think we'd be having the excited Brosmer discussions as much. He would just be like a cool guy to stash on the practice squad. And we're kind of we're like dipping our toes into, could he be like on the 53? I don't know. I think I'm drinking as much Kool-Aid as everyone else. He looks great against the Patriots, and I don't know how many reps he's going to get because the 3s and the 4s aren't going to get a ton of reps the next couple of days. But
I'm just telling you that we have seen quarterbacks slip through the crevices before. I am not in any way saying that the dude should play in a game this season. I am saying there's a lot more there than I thought. And ordinarily, when these guys come in, it's like, oh, yeah, you were good in college. I mean, all due respect to Declan's guy, the poster child, JD Booty, right?
I don't remember. Did he look good in camp?
Not really.
Yeah.
He didn't really look great. Now he also wasn't developed by a guy. I mean, that's the thing is we are watching it. It sounds silly, but we are watching a quarterback coach who knows what he's doing too. Like we haven't seen that here until Kevin O'Connell.
Did JD Booty had Chili, right?
Yeah.
Still the Chili.
Yeah, but who was supposed to be an offensive guy. But I mean, JD Booty's skill set also was like, it's okay. It's fine. Whatever. See you later. And, Brosmer's impressed enough that I definitely think he's worth being on an actual watch list now.
Yeah. It's also tough when one more thing on Brosmer, and then we can get to your fifth thing. Mm-hmm. The fact that he spent 3 or 4 years at New Hampshire. So he was playing this is that FCS or Division II? New Hampshire. It's FCS.
Declan, can you look that up?
No, I remember this. Hold on. I think it is Division II, but so he played he had a redshirt year because he tore his ACL. He was there for 5 years.
Wow.
At New Hampshire. No, it was Division I FCS.
Okay.
Yep. And he led Division I FCS with 3,400 passing yards and 29 touchdowns the year before he came to the U.
And obviously there's Carson Wentz. There's been FCS examples. Well, Trey Lance is kind of the ultimate, where he didn't even get that many snaps in FCS, and then he was overdrafted, and now that he's with Jim Harbaugh now, right, and with the Chargers, and you're seeing some flashes in preseason, but it's harder to evaluate those guys that kind of carve up FCS competition. And then Brosmer has the benefit of 1 year kind of carving up Big Ten competition too. He didn't put up like crazy numbers, but he was very, very good in a tough schedule environment. So
Sure.
I am definitely excited to watch him against the Patriots on Wednesday and Thursday. All right, what's your fifth item here, Judd's Camp?
Okay. The fifth and final thing to watch for in the joint practices is this. So a bunch of guys didn't practice yesterday. There were obviously some vet days. I don't know who's banged up at this point and who's not. It was interesting that I don't think we saw Levi Drake Rodriguez take a snap, but that also opened up a door for a ton of first team work and I actually went and got the pronunciation, Tyrion Ingram Dawkins. Okay.
Isn't that what we've been saying?
I don't know, but I said yesterday I didn't know how.
I don't know.
So I looked it up. For my own. It's not what I've been saying. I've just been calling him Ingram Dawkins because it's simpler. But now I've looked it up. Anyway, so he got a ton of first team work on Monday. And the thing that you keep seeing, one, he's doing a lot of work off to the side with coaches, but he's also, when you see him in the middle of that line, here's what makes him intriguing. And here's where I think that they might have found something with this 5th round pick. He is 6'5", okay? Among the defensive linemen for the Vikings now, the only other guy who is as tall as him is a guy by the name of, and I kid you not, our former producer as well, Jonathan Harrison.
It's John Bob, yeah.
Yep. So he's 6'5" as well. He's not going to make the team, but Ingram Dawkins profiles he's got the long arms. He's got a lot of the athletic ability. Like we think of guys interior defensive line as being bigger guys, and I love that. But this guy actually presents sort of a defensive end's body or a rush end's body inside. So he is definitely a guy to watch for. He wears the number 90, and I would just advise that I would not be surprised if that guy actually has a pretty important rotational role in the regular season as a rookie.
Kind of a classic example of a measurable freak who didn't live up to his physical potential in college.
Yep.
And an NFL coaching staff looking and saying, "Oh, we got this. We can turn this dude into an absolute monster." And we've brought the RAS score up before with Tyron Ingram Dawkins, but since you brought him up here, I will reiterate that they've been doing the combine testing and putting together. So it's at MathBomb on Twitter. Raz.football is the I think there's even it's a website too. It's RAS.football. And you can find the relative athletic score. So all of the combine numbers from your height, your weight, to your 40, your 20-yard split, your 10-yard split, your vertical jump, your broad jump. They even have oftentimes like your bench press reps and all the things that make up your athletic profile leading up to the draft. And they take every player from 1987 through present day and rank them based on their RAS score, which is a 0 through 10 score. And Tyrion Ingram Dawkins scored 9.85 out of 10. He had a near perfect relative athletic score. Of the 1,812 defensive tackles measured since 1987, he ranked 29th. So he is in the 99th percentile of all defensive tackles measured pre-draft, combines, workouts, athletic ability. So the Vikings coaching staff and front office is looking at him saying, okay, so he's ridiculous, but he didn't tally as many sacks or just didn't get the productivity in college. If we can just work with him and mold him for a year or two and unleash him, what could that look like fully formed? And they've kind of done this. You could argue a little bit of a different position profile. Daniil Hunter was kind of one of those guys.
Yep.
Where you see now in the NFL, now that coaches have molded his technique and all the different things, now you're seeing a guy that might flirt with Hall of Fame if he keeps putting up 12, 15 sacks a year. So I don't want to go that far with Ingram Dawkins quite yet.
That's what I heard.
But
Max Brosmer,
the vision for him by this coaching staff is very apparent, and he's getting a ton of run. He's right up there with that second team defense, and was one of the starters in that preseason game because they were sitting their veterans. So,
so that's my 5 things. 5 things to watch.
I just got a text from my buddy Nick Cattles, who hosts Locked On Patriots for Patriots fans, and he was just asking about like, hey, I'm doing some prepping for the joint practices. And so he asked me a couple things about injuries, and he said, I think your defense is going to make life miserable for the Patriots' young offensive line and Drake May. The hope is that Drake May just doesn't implode on Wednesday and Thursday against the Brian Flores defense.
Well, hold on a second. Garrett Bradbury has gone against this defense in practice. I mean, Garrett Bradbury. Unbelievable.
They got everything figured out with Garrett Bradbury there. So, all right, we have a random Viking of the week coming up here in just a moment. But a shout out to Game Day Men's Health. So I've been talking about this for a couple weeks now, and I am very, very happy and fortunate that I found Game Day Men's Health, modern men's health care, where men go to reclaim energy, confidence, vitality. It's tough getting old. Judge the elder statesman on the show. I just turned 40 back in the spring here, and in some ways I still feel pretty young, but in other ways I definitely feel like I'm at least 40, maybe even pushing 50. Testosterone number much lower than it probably should be. I could stand to lose a couple pounds. I'm a man. I'm 40. Great Photoshop work by Declan there. But Game Day Men's Health is not like a traditional clinic. When you walk in, you're greeted with a modern, almost like a sports lounge vibe. Appointments and lab results are quick. No judgment, just solutions for low testosterone, weight loss, ED, advanced lab work that goes beyond personally what my primary was providing. And they also utilize FDA-approved therapies and clinically backed protocols. So check out Game Day Men's Health and take control of your health and your life like I am doing right now. GameDayMen'sHealth.com/Purple Daily. That's GameDayMen'sHealth.com/Purple Daily. And I'd love to hear from you. If you do stop in, if you make an appointment at either Edina, Minnetonka, or Roseville, I'd love to, compare notes and just hear about your experience. So let me know. Also, Prize Picks. It's a great time right now to be on Prize Picks, especially if you're a golf nerd too, because you got preseason football, you got baseball, you got the golf playoffs going on. You select between 2 and 6 players, even across sports if you want. Takes less than 60 seconds. And you pick more or less on their projected stats. And so WNBA in here too. Let me see here. Do we have any? It might be a little early in the week for some of the football things here, but look at that. Shohei Ohtani, who is about to win, his 4th MVP award probably. You can select 9.5 on a fantasy score. Cal Raleigh is about to set the record for catcher home runs in a season. And you can mix and match sports. All the withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code PURPLEDAILY to get $50 in lineups when you play just $5. That's code PURPLEDAILY to get $50 in lineups when you play just $5. Prize Picks, run your game. All right, thanks to Judd's Camp Notes. Judd's Camp Notes. Dex now has a random Viking of the week. Let's do this.
I do. This will be, I believe, our 15th edition of Random Viking of the Week. All-time standings. Phil has won 8 times. Judd's won back-to-back with Irv Smith Jr. and Stephon Diggs. I have the one win of Brooks Bollinger. So we're going to give you the clues here. We're going to see who wins. Judd slowly closing some of the gap after Phil's hot start. We'll see.
Now that I'm not cheating anymore, it's tough to pull off these victories.
Cheater. All right, I'll give you this first clue here. This Random Viking was a 4th round draft pick. 4th round draft pick.
I feel like 4th is kind of a weird round, you know?
Yep. I am looking on my phone at the previous list. So
of 4th round draft picks?
A previous list of our Random Vikings. Yes, I'm looking at all the 4th round picks. I'm going to take 3 guesses immediately. Oh, sorry.
Are you good? You want me to keep going?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, keep going.
Okay. This Random Viking was a All-American in college.
All-American. Jack Swagger.
I am a real
Hulk Hogan.
This Random Viking, a multiple-time Pro Bowler.
Okay, I'm going to take a guess.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Because we haven't done them yet. At least let me make sure. Nope. Everson Griffin.
Everson Griffin. Big Ev. No. Incorrect. Strike
All right,
one.
I got one against me. Okay.
Strike one for Everson Griffin. So, on Pro Football Reference, there is a tab that says fantasy, and you can look up this player's fantasy results. They use StatHead. I didn't know StatHead accumulates fantasy points, but they do. And I think it's like a pretty universal thing. So I will say this Random Viking was a top 10 fantasy player at his position in 7 different seasons. Seven different seasons.
Well, that's interesting. Okay.
Was he a 4th-round pick of the Vikings?
Not going to answer that yet.
Okay.
Is it Kirk Cousins?
Kirk Cousins? Incorrect. Fun fact. Kirk Cousins, not really ever a top 10. Just like his quarterback ranking, was never really much of a fantasy quarterback.
Didn't think he was, but...
Kirk Cousins?
Okay.
Across his NFL career, I know Phil is not good with this, but across his NFL career, this Random Viking wore just 2 numbers. 2 numbers. Finn, will you stop going into the laundry room? Sorry,
He's
dog.
just trying to help.
He's trying to look for the Random Viking.
Trying to help.
There a door in that room?
No, there's not.
Dad.
That's the problem. I gotta block it.
Dad,
I gotta block it.
we're out of fabric softener.
It's Uncle
We
Declan.
need more
I think.
fabric softener.
Vinny is here laying like an angel on his blanket and his big bed, and Finnegan's on another world adventure. Let's see here.
Yeah,
What do I
we're
want to give you
at
next?
the Tide Pods. We did with Tide Pods.
Yeah.
I'll let you eat them.
Me and
All
Gronk.
right.
Me and Gronk.
2 numbers. Okay.
This Random Viking played in a healthy amount of playoff games, but never a Super Bowl.
Can you give us the number of playoff games?
Sure. He played in 14 playoff games
Oh, geez.
across 2 different franchises.
4th-round pick.
Oh my gosh, dude. This is top 10 at his position. 7 times. Multi-time Pro Bowler. I do have another guess, but I don't if I want to unleash this right now or not.
This Random Viking has his number retired by the purple.
Is this Chris Carter?
Chris Carter is correct. Ding, ding, ding. Chris Carter. Chris Carter. I was trying to tiptoe as much as I could around obvious clues.
It's a
Chris
great
Carter.
one. That's really good. That's really good.
I do want. I was getting to the ones. I was like, okay, now I'm gonna have to start giving some obvious. I was gonna say Hall of Famer. I was going between that one. First team All Big Ten.
Was he taken in the 4th round of the supplemental draft by Philadelphia? Is that what it was?
Oh yeah, supplemental draft. Yeah.
Yeah, the old supplemental
I might
draft.
have to play this under protest. Oh man.
Oh wow, we've never seen this before.
Well,
But yes.
it was the supplement. Like in my mind, it was like his path through the Eagles to the Vikings was.
Yep.
Technically, he was undrafted, but if you're the old supplemental draft, okay. I mean, it is what it is. We both
had
the
4th round
pick.
He was a 4th round pick in the supplemental draft, so still a. I guess I didn't say NFL draft. I just said 4th round pick.
No, that's true. I suppose in
the court of protest,
Random Viking law.
Ernie Kosar, I believe, also taken in the supplemental draft by. Well, the Vikings tried to get him.
Wow, Judd's on a little heater here. So Judd is up to 6 wins in the revamped iteration of Random Viking of the Week. I still lead with 8, but the walls are closing in. Declan with 1 victory. He'll try to get that 2nd victory against Judd next week. So, by the way, Federated Insurance also powering today's episode of Purple Daily. Thanks to Federated Insurance for helping small and medium-sized businesses all across the country, the backbone of America, if you will. And so they're based in Minnesota for over 100 years, but they have roots in all 50 states. Industries like retailers and wholesalers, manufacturing companies, dealerships, contractors. Federated also works with next generation business owners. So maybe you just took over your family business, you're a younger business owner, and you want some more help with frontline protection. At Federated Mutual Insurance Company, you can get that help. Visit federatedinsurance.com, where it's our business to protect yours. Stick around, because I had a chance yesterday to sit down with the head coach of the United States wheelchair rugby team and a two-time Paralympic medalist, Joe Delagrave. He's also a keynote speaker and just a great leader whose life was drastically changed 20 years ago. Who's a Division II football player at Winona State, a 6'5", 245-pound tight end that suffered a freak accident on a boat when he was 19 years old. And thanks to the folks at Courage Kenny, he was able to get back to a semblance of his new normal, and he discovered wheelchair rugby. So here's that conversation with our guy, Joe Delagrave. All right. We're spending all week long here across the Score North network of podcasts raising money for the Courage Kenny Rehabilitation Institute through the annual Power of Sports auction. And you've heard us talk about all the items up for bid. Buy it now items. scorenorth.com/bid is where you can go. I think my favorite item is probably the dinner with Purple Daily, where you can come and tell us exactly what you think of us, and you get a Justin Jefferson autographed jersey and a Harrison Smith autograph too. But our guest here today is the current head coach of the United States wheelchair rugby team, where he tells our friend Chuck Aoki what to do. A two-time Paralympic medalist and also a keynote speaker with an incredible background and story. Joe Delagrave, thanks for taking some time out of your schedule, Joe.
Absolutely. Appreciate being here. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, I'd love for you to just tell our audience your story and your background. I mean, you were a three-sport athlete in high school. You're actually in the Twin Cities this week, and you said you're actually on the way to Winona State, where you played college football. Eventually, you became one of the best wheelchair rugby players in the world, and now you're the head coach of the United States team. Between those things, 20 years ago, your life took an unexpected turn, and I'd love for you to just tell our audience your story.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. How I got to telling Chuck Aoki what to do is kind of the story. That's
Exactly.
no. Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, playing sports my whole life, whether that's basketball, football, baseball, you name it. I love being a part of teams. And in between my freshman and sophomore year at Winona State, where I played football there as a tight end, had just a freak boating accident, hit the bottom of the river accidentally. My buddy was driving. I'm sitting in a boat, fall backwards, hit my head on the front of the boat, inside the boat, and break my neck at the C6 and 7 level. So I went from 6'6", 260 pounds to what's life look like sitting in a wheelchair, which is pretty traumatic for a 19-year-old kid that's pretty ignorant, has no idea what adaptive sports are and like that. And took me a little while to figure out um, what that looked like for me. And so about a year and a half after my accident, started to just talk to people that were in the community, called some people at Courage Kenny with the rugby team. And I was like, what's this crazy sport where they go around smashing into each other in wheelchairs? Like, I've never seen anything like it. Looks really fun. And for me with wheelchair rugby, it was one of those that was like everything that the doctors said I couldn't do, or I perceived in my own head that I couldn't do anymore, they were doing on the field and off. And so went to practice in 2006 at Courage Kenny, and it truly changed my life. Like, it was, I don't want to be dramatic about it, but at the same time, like, I went there and there's a community of guys that were going through the same things or had gone through the same things as me, and got in a chair and smashed into some people. And I'm like, this is really cool. I need to come back. And that's what evolved into almost a 20-year career in the sport both as a player and now as a coach.
It's kind of the community, I suppose, that you you're going through this mental transition of, like you said, you were 6'6" college football player, 240-pound tight end, and now you're trying to figure out, can I play sports again? What am I going back to school? You should probably thinking
Yep.
all these a million different
Yep.
thoughts. What was like the first, I don't know, 6 months, 2 years, that early part? What was that experience like?
Yeah, I mean, that's the 6 months to really day 1 to 2 years later. Really dark times. I mean, it's not it's something that I don't even think about anymore, but when I think back on it, those were dark moments of like exactly what you said. What is life going to look like in a wheelchair? I have my identity ripped away as an athlete. Am I going to be an athlete still? What kind of job can I get in a wheelchair? What all these different questions circulate around your head, and you're trying to figure out um how to live life in a wheelchair, what that looks like. Do I go back to school? Do I change my major? Like all those questions. But the biggest thing for me truly was community, and that's like community in my adaptive sports group, community, family and friends that spoke into me when I needed it, and some really close buddies for me. My two best friends in high school, both were on the boat, and both friends to this day, and we're super close. And having that brotherhood, the friendships that are like, man, you need like the human guardrails, what I call them, guys that are going to lift you up when you need it and kind of pull you back when you need it as well. And that's truly what got me into adaptive sports. My buddy goes, hey, how boys are. They're just like, hey, dude, you're getting fat. And that was his way of loving me, which was funny. And I was like, nah, man, I'm not getting fat. And he's like, no, we should weigh you. And I'm like, I don't think so. And so we ended up weighing me in a local hospital on a bed scale. You get on there and it said 285 pounds, and I told the nurse, I'm like, I think your bed's broke. I like, there's no way I weigh that much. And she's like, well, we can do it again. And sure enough, said the same thing. And that's truly what like led to me going, I need to be active somehow. But so it's never just a Joe thing that it's always community and people that are speaking into my life and building me up. And that's the beauty of team sports and community.
Yeah. So you mentioned like sports as an identity, and kind of going through that of, man, is sports going to be part of my identity going forward as you're going through this process? So how has your identity, or however you want to define that, shifted? I mean, sports have been a huge part of your life, and wheelchair rugby has been a huge part of your professional identity. But how has your identity changed or not over the past 20 years?
Yeah. Probably there's a couple significant things in there. I was cut from the Rio team in 2016, and kind of really having that like accident thinking over again of like the identity's ripped away. I'm not going to Rio to the Paralympics, but it ended up being probably the most important part of my career. All the accolades are great, all the medals are great, and coaching is great, but having that moment to go like, what, like, who am I without this sport? What does this look like? And really did some work on the mental aspect of that, of going like, who am I? At the time of 2016, I had 3 kids that were under 4 years old. And so my wife and I are, we're figure it out, don't go. And then really it was kind of like this switch in my thinking of, I'm not doing any of this for an identity. I'm doing it from an identity. And that's being a really good husband. That's being a really good father. It's been super fun to go through all the youth sports stuff with my kids who are now 13, 11, and 9. So they're getting into two of them getting into middle school sports and whatnot, club sports and all of that. But like doing it from my father's side is definitely helped me switch to where it's like sports are a great vehicle for your true purpose in life. And whether that, hopefully that interacts with a passion as well, because I think that's a beautiful spot when we can intersect our passion and purpose. And for me, that's what happened. I see coaching as a servant leadership type.
On coaching specifically, what do you like the best about coaching? What sort of fulfills you the most about coaching?
Yeah, yelling at people, that's great. No, I'm just
That's
kidding.
great. Yeah.
Uh,
Just
yeah.
holding your power over people. It's
Oh
incredible.
man, just yeah. Abuse of power. No, just kidding. I think for me, it's and obviously with I retired after Tokyo in 2021 after the pandemic pushed those back a year in Tokyo, and then retired, and then went right into coaching as a head coach. And so obviously for me, like and so I'm in my fourth season now, so it's a little different in this last couple seasons, but first couple seasons really like building those relationships in a new way. Obviously, like guys like Chuck, Aoki and I are close friends off the court, and have been teammates for a long, long time. Came up together at Courage Kenny in our club ball days. And but building those relationships from a coach player's perspective, and making sure that there's lines of communication open on both sides. I think that's the biggest thing as an athlete going into a coach. I love being able to um, understand that they're going to see things differently on the court than I am on the sideline. And I think taking a little bit of like um, Andy Reid's approach on I love hearing about coaches that are like they have days where the players draw up different plays, trick plays that they want to do, and things like that. That I think it helps with buy-in if players know that they have a voice in this. And so we at USAWR we have three V's that I go by. Athletes need to make sure that they understand they have a voice. They need to understand that they're valued, and then they also need to understand what our vision is, and we need to be transparent about that. So I think that helps them set that up for success, and helps me get set up for success as well.
What's funny about like Andy Reid, they do that, like you said, for kind of team building and just keep it light, and you're just giving players a say. And then about 2 or 3 times a year, he'll actually say, "That's actually a really good idea. Let's use that in a playoff game, or let's use that in a big
Yeah,
division game."
it's
It's kind of
wild.
wild. Hmm.
Exactly. Yeah, it's super wild. Yeah.
Hey, what if you could go back? Just maybe this is kind of a heavy question, but like if you could go back 20 years, current day Joe, and everything that you've learned and experienced, and tell 19-year-old head is spinning Joe after a life-changing incident, what would you go back and say to younger Joe?
Yeah, absolutely. Heavy question, but it's a great question, and I love this question too because I'm all about perspective. I think it helps pausing in a perspective. I think it helps with change and momentum. Anyway, won't go down a rabbit hole there, but anyway, what I'd tell him is like just simply get in the wheelchair. I remember being in the hospital bed. And I looked at the wheelchair as like the biggest obstacle ever. But really, like getting in the wheelchair led me to getting back to school, and getting in the wheelchair led me to finding out about wheelchair rugby, and getting in the wheelchair led me to an undergraduate master's degree, and like all that stuff, and like wearing USA across your chest. And my proudest is getting in a wheelchair, and marrying the love of your life, and having 3 kids that I get to be a dad to. There's a lot of purpose in that, but it starts with just baby steps. And I think that's the biggest thing whether someone's going through something traumatic like an accident like mine, or it's just, the day in, day out, down in the dumps type of things, is it's one foot in front of the other. For me, it was getting in a wheelchair, and that was my mode of being able to get around. But like that was the biggest thing, is like it's gonna suck here for a second. There's gonna be some dark moments. There's probably gonna be some dark months figuring it all out. But the first step is just getting in that bad boy.
Yeah,
And really life changed once I made that choice and started making that choice daily.
I love that. What's something for our listening and viewing audiences here on the Score North podcast? What is something or a thing or two about the Courage Kenny Rehab Institute, if they're not that familiar with what happens inside with some of the equipment and the people?
Yeah.
What's a thing or two that you'd love to pull the curtain back on and say this is why it's really important?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely love what you guys are doing and have been doing for a decade and a half with the auction. And I think when inside those 4 walls, what's happening there is there's a lot of life-changing stuff going around. I've always said for me and where I've been and gotten places I've gotten to go, the most groundbreaking for me or transformational thing happened at Courage Kenny. There's communities of people playing adaptive sports, and it's bigger than getting to play wheelchair rugby or wheelchair basketball or wheelchair tennis or swimming, and there's like an abundance of sports. It doesn't have to be rugby. It can be art. It can be music. It can be, whatever it is. And there's a community of people that are pouring into these people. We can't go through some of these things that we've acquired, whether it's acquired or born with disabilities, by ourselves. In a silo, it's not going to work. With community, um, there's room for a lot of growth and change. And Courage Kenny being all over across the country and getting to come back and see that place and see the people there, they're changing lives. Like no full stop, like that's what they're doing through the power of adaptive sports. And so it's not necessarily the up and down of the playing, it's the getting drinks of water and talking about how life's going after, before, during type of deal.
Yeah. Hey man, thanks. It's great to meet you.
Yeah, you as
Been
well.
friends with Chuck for probably 10 or 12 years,
Yeah,
and just everything. Got to get you guys a gold medal at some point. I do needle
here's
Chuck. You
the
got a lot of
deal,
hardware. We got to get you guys a gold medal.
we're ramping up, and I mean the biggest thing is, like, if we get silver in LA, like, you might as well call us the USA Buffalo Bills. We can't do that. We've got to make sure that we're getting the right color this time. So we're well on our way. But yeah, absolutely.
He's the Josh Allen and you're the Sean McDermott, if that. But still, but the fact that you guys are so decorated. If for the audience, if you haven't checked out the U.S. Men's wheelchair rugby team, you can find clips all over the internet, and it's a great program. So Joe, awesome to meet you, and
You as well.
hopefully we can hang out in person at some point. And for the audience, scorenorth.com/bid is where you can get your hands on some buy it now items, auction items, or you could just straight up donate if you want to this Power of Sports auction benefiting the Courage Kenny Rehabilitation Institute. Thank you again, Joe. Take care, man.
All right. Take care.